Here are some really cool things I've learned about keeping jumping spiders over the last year. Hello everyone and welcome back to Spooderpods. I'm David and today I am recapping some knowledge I have gained over the last year when it comes to keeping jumping spiders. If you haven't seen it yet, I've got my 1 year anniversary for Tank, one of our oldest jumping spiders, which I'll leave a card for now. But we have been interacting with jumping spiders for a very long time, but actually keeping them in our own house, that's only been the last year, and we've learned some really fascinating things about them, which I thought I'd share with you guys. Now, something you don't really notice until you're actually keeping them as pets yourself is just how individual and how expressive they are, how cute they are. Obviously, you know how cute they are if you're watching this channel, but they really do have their own individual personalities. Tank is completely different to Zero, and Zero is completely different to Miku. The mini ones are completely different to everyone else, and our new ones, Woody and Arnie, are very different to everyone else. They're all very individual, and that can vary to do with their species or individual traits. But everyone will have their own individual experiences, and that makes them unique and gives them personality. And for such a small critter, I think it's absolutely amazing and so cool, and it's been a really great thing to learn over the last year about having them. Something else really important that I've learned over the last year is that sometimes you have to experiment with what food you offer your jumping spider. Sometimes there's like a lot of information provided that you should only feed one type of food or this food's best, and it's not really accurate. A bit of variety is useful, and your jumping spider may have individual tastes. For example, Tank really loved crickets until we stopped feeding them because we found out they weren't so good, but he doesn't really like mealworms very much, only occasionally will he take them. But he absolutely loves locusts and he absolutely loves flies, whereas Zero loves flies and she loves mealworms. They're all individual, and you have to sometimes try lots of different foods with them to see which one is going to be most popular and which one they're going to enjoy eating. Something I think a lot of jumping spider owners will have a bit of sympathy for is you've got to try not to panic if they spend a lot of time in their hammock, or if they're going to pre-molt or during the molting process. Sometimes things will go wrong, but most of the time it will go fine. They've got millions of years of evolution to help them out with it. Try not to panic when they're molting or they're inactive for a while. It's completely normal. Sometimes they'll go on hunger strike as well for a while. It is just normal for jumping spiders to do this, and it's just about offering their food once in a while, keeping an eye on them, and if they molt, making sure you support that by keeping a nice humidity level in there. And I've got a great video I'll leave a card for now on jumping spider molting to help assuage any fears you guys may have. With jumping spiders, something I've learned is once you establish basic husbandry, you have your basic knowledge and their enclosures like looking okay and stable, they're really easy to look after. It is just literally about feeding them, maintaining the humidity and doing a bit of tidying. They're incredibly easy to look after, and I think that's one of the most amazing aspects of them, keeping them as pets. There's lots of elements that are inconvenient for some people, and live food's a big deal breaker for lots, but overall they're super easy, and their husbandry is super easy once you get used to it. This didn't quite make it to my fun facts video, but this is something we've learned in the last year. You can actually train them to ask for food, and we do professional parrot training and other animal training, so obviously we were going to try and train our spiders, and we used our food bowls to do that. We would place their food in the bowl, and either it would just crawl out and they'd hunt it, or they would get it if it was pre-killed when they're younger, but they would always gravitate towards that bowl when they're hungry. And while we monitor their abdomens anyway, it's kind of cool to see this behaviour and how they learn that if they're hungry, this is a food source and they'll go to it. And you can probably achieve the same with your jumping spider. They can learn. All animals, be they absolutely tiny microbes all the way up to us and more advanced ones, we can all learn, and it's really interesting to see jumping spiders put that into practice for me. Really important, and something that's often overlooked, and we actually skipped this with Tank when we first got him and we're like, is cycling the enclosure. Get the enclosure set up, get everything stable in there, and let it sit for a couple of days before you put your jumping spider in there. That will allow you to clean up any mold issues, make sure your spring tails are settled in properly, and make sure everything is as it should be. And you can make changes before your spider goes in, because once it goes in, you want to kind of minimise changes to minimise disruption to them. Having springtails, having substrates, really important as well. I see a lot of enclosures without either of these, and while it's okay for lots, I find it's much more natural to have these, and the springtails and substrate help to maintain humidity and also clean up any mold issues, because those springtails will get to work, and it's like having loads of mini pets alongside your jumping spider. And finally, for those of you guys who've been keeping them for absolute ages or have them naturally where you are in the world, they love sunbathing. It is amazing to see how much these guys enjoy basking and sunbathing. Tank is constantly sunbathing, all of them will do it, and we try to make sure we give them the opportunity to for natural sunlight where possible, because it's enriching for them and it simulates something they'll do in the wild. They will sit and sunbathe and bask for absolute ages, sometimes too long, so you should monitor it yourself, but it is kind of cute to watch them gravitate towards the sun, spread their legs out and just enjoy a nice bit of sunbathing. So I have learned so much over this last year. It really did build up on the knowledge I already had, and it's just amazing how much I probably still have to learn about these guys. Just these mini jumping spiders can teach you so much, and I think you guys are probably learning loads as well, hopefully from this channel and your own experiences. Is there anything you've learned over the last year that you found really interesting? I'd love to hear from you down in the comments, but in the meantime, take care and see you later.